It's nice to see you Instagrammers, and now I see Facebook folks are live. Thanks so much for coming and joining me for Musical Mondays, which is a place or time where I just share in this live video a little bit about my lessons from the week. Normally I do an overview K through 5 of all my lessons from that week, and then I do a deep dive on one specific lesson. This week I'm going to do it just a little bit different, but before I get into that, I just want to say, for the record, I'm trying this excuse me, live on my iPad on Facebook Live, and I'm also trying for all of you on Instagram, I'm trying it live on Instagram, and thanks to all the people on Instagram who are waving. I've never done Instagram Live before, so I don't know, it may blink out, may not work, the phone may fall on the ground, I don't know, we'll see. So anyway, if I'm looking at two different places, it's not because I have ADHD, although I might, I don't know. It's because I'm trying to look in both places. So anyway, I'm going to go through my lessons a little bit for the week, and then I'm going to share specifically about one grade. This week I'm going to talk about second grade. If you're interested, I know I'm going to talk a little bit along the way about some resources and some different things that I use in my lesson. And if you're interested in that, I try and put all of those ideas sort of linked together in one place. So if you go to my blog, which is makemomentsmatter.org and /videos, you'll be able to find a page way down at the bottom. It says like Musical Mondays Recap or something. And you can click through and see the links, not only from this week, but every week I've done this. The links for like the books that I've talked about, or the CDs that I use, or that sort of thing. So if you're interested, that's all there on Facebook in the comments, wherever those are on the screen. You should be, at the very bottom, there should be a link that says like Musical Mondays Recap, and you can go to those links. I've tried to add some of those before doing the video today, so we'll see if that works. After this video ends, it will be archived on Facebook. I don't know what happens on Instagram. I guess it's there a day and then it's gone. I don't know. Thanks for waving, guys. Makes me feel like maybe I have an idea what's happening there. But it will be archived on Facebook in my video section. And also, I just started a YouTube channel to archive these videos, so it'll be there as well. I'll put a link to that. I really don't have a lot on YouTube. I'm really just putting it for the people who are like, I don't get on Facebook, I can't find these videos, so they're there too. Anyway, if you're interested, they will be live, they will be archived there. Just two more things before I get started, and that's that at the end of the video there's a survey in case you want to give me some feedback about what I'm sharing or how I'm sharing, or if you just have something you really want to tell me, I don't know, your favorite color. There's a survey there that with some questions. It's really quick, and if you fill out that survey, there is a thank you gift at the end, because that feedback is really helpful for me. Thanks to everyone who leaves questions and comments along the way. I always try and go back and answer those questions and comments if I don't do that in the live video. Okay, Facebook, Instagram. I'm gonna get started, but let me just say that I'm sort of in a weird off week, not just because it was Labor Day, but because at my school I have 1,200 students. I see them once every 8 school days, and so what that means for me is that I don't see them very often, and that definitely affects how I plan. But one of the other things about that is that, like what the lessons I told you about last Monday, I am still teaching them. I will be teaching them tomorrow and Wednesday. It's only on Thursday when I start in on a new rotation. So that overview I did of all my lessons last week is still true. It's still current. So instead of giving you that quick run through again, I figured I would give you a sort of a special topic and share just a little bit about a resource that I really love and something that I thought was super fun. So especially for the people on Instagram, this might be cool for you. On Instagram recently, I've been sharing some of my favorite books to use in my classroom. And so if you look through my Instagram feed, you'll see that I have several different books. 3 so far, there are more coming. And I talk just a little bit about how I use it, but also give you some pictures to the inside and show you just a little bit of the book. So I figured, because I'm doing Instagram Live for the first time, trying it, don't know if how it's going, but because I'm doing Instagram Live for the first time, I figured I'd choose sort of an Instagram topic, and that's something I'm doing more of, is sharing more books. So there are a lot of books that I like sharing about, and a lot of books I like using in my classroom. This one is a super great book, Dinosaur Roar, and I showed some pictures from the inside of that on Instagram this week. I showed the Star Spangled Banner today. I really love this book because it just has such cool illustrations, especially for some of that really rich language that is really hard to explain to students. It's just really hard to explain to them without having a picture or an image, and so it's nice to have that book. There are a lot of books I could talk about. Twinkle Twinkle, Groovy Joe. I did a whole blog post about this one. Charlie Parker, near and dear to my heart because I used to teach in the school district where he was born and grew up. So there are just, I could do hours talking about books. And actually I'm going to be posting more on Instagram with pictures and ideas about those books. So keep checking on Instagram if you're there. And I'll try and share those to Facebook if you're an only Facebook person. I know those people are out there. But I wanted to share a very special book today about something that's near and dear to my heart. And if you've heard some noise in the background, it's because I have my Basset Hound with me this week. This is Lucy, and I have actually two Bassets. Lucy came from the Basset Hound Rescue of Georgia, and my other dog Milo came from a local animal rescue when I was living in Kansas. Lucy's just over a year old, and Milo's about 11. He's a senior Basset. But anyway, I have Basset Hounds, and I love them, which is why I have so many Basset Hound books. Now, there are a couple that are just pull out when the nieces and nephews come. So, for instance, Charlie the Ranch Dog, which is actually written by Ree Drummond, who's the pioneer woman, I think is what she's called on the Food Network. She had a Basset Hound for a long time who just passed away within the last year or two. She still has some other Bassets, but she wrote this cool book, Charlie the Ranch Dog, and there's some other books in that series. Not musical, I just have it to show to nephews and nieces when they visit. The Nose That Knows, still trying to figure out how to make that one work in my classroom. But it's actually about a girl who owns a dog whose name is Milo, and I have a Milo, so I felt like that was perfect. This one is actually really fun, and I have not yet used it in my classroom. It's called Dog on a Frog, and this one is super fun because it's all about rhyming words, and I make such a big deal about that. And the whole premise is that dogs sit on frogs, and then the frog is like, hey dog, get off. And so he's like, but I have to sit on you, like that's my job. And he's like, no, I'm changing the rules. Dogs sit on, what does he say? Dogs sit on logs. Really? And the dog's like, paradigm shift, can't handle that. And he's like, well, if dogs sit on logs, then what do bears sit on? He's like, bears sit on stairs. And he goes through and does all these fun rhyming words. I'm still figuring out how to like really run that into all my lessons. But I love that book and I love rhyming with kids. So that's something that I definitely want to incorporate. But the book I really wanted to share with you today is this one called Do Your Ears Hang Low? I think I can show it so both Instagram and Facebook can see it. Basset Hounds have super duper long ears, and some of my kids know that I have two Basset Hounds. And so when I do this book, I project a picture up on my smartboard where I show pictures of my dogs. So Do Your Ears Hang Low? Well, we can do the song, and I can teach them the song, but the fun part about this book, and I know it's backwards because of my phones, I'm using my FaceTime camera, but one of the things that I love about it is that it does Do Your Ears Hang Low, and it shows the dog with the really long ears. So when I do it the first time, I can sing it and do the first part, or maybe we've sung it as a class and I add it in. It sort of just depends on where I am in the rotation and how much time I have. But it shows all of those things, and it's another book where it's hard for kids to conceptualize your ears hanging so low that you could tie them in a bow or tie them in a knot. Like, they don't get that. But when they see a dog with these super long ears and then they see a picture of my dog, like, that makes sense to them. So I think it's a super fun book, but then it doesn't stop at ears hang low. Then it pulls out pictures of llamas and say, do your ears stand high? Do they reach up to the sky? Do they drop when they are wet? Do they stiffen when they're dry? So that's super cute. And then it goes into, do your ears flip flop with this cute little bunny? Can you use them as a mop? Are they stringy at the bottom or are they curly at the top? So it goes through, and then it does a pig. do your ears stick out? Can you waggle them about? Can you flap them up and down as you fly around the town? I think it's super cute, but the best part is at the end, on the very last one, on do your ears stick out, there's a mirror at the end. So the kids goes, do your ears stick out? And it says, hey, you've got the cutest ears I've ever seen. And so it's sort of fun for kids to, like, you know, then it's cool because when kids first hear that song or sing that song, I don't feel like they can really conceptualize or understand themselves in that role, because our ears don't really do that. As much as we're like, our ears are standing out. Well, like, not. The song is hyperbole, right? So, but when they see other animals, then they're like, oh yeah, those animals, their ears are definitely doing other things. And then they see the mirror at the end. It's sort of cool because then it's like, oh wait, how do my ears factor in? And like how, you know, what are my ears like and how do they act? And kids, it's one of those things where kids don't always think about that, and then this sort of gets them thinking, which I really love. So this is called Do Your Ears Hang Low? It's by Jenny Cooper, illustrated by Jenny Cooper. In the notes for this video, on the page that I talked about, there's a link to that. In fact, I have a special Amazon page where I can put all of the things I use in my classroom, and I made a special list just for books. So like all the books I'm going to talk about on Instagram, all the books that I'm talking about here, any books that I blog about or anything, I can put a link there so you can, I mean, I'm an Amazon Prime person, so I like having those all in one place. So if you are watching on Facebook, and if not, on Instagram, you can go to makemomentsmatter.org/videos, and then at the bottom there's a link to Musical Mondays recap, and on week 5, it'll have a spot for Amazon. Or after I'm done with the video, I can put that link in the comments and y'all can go to that if you want, but it has all of the books that I'm going to share on Instagram as well as here and elsewhere. So, Do Your Ears Hang Low, super cute book. I'm going to let my co-host Lucy go now. She's sitting over there chewing on her little dog bone, so I'm going to let her out just a second. Lucy, you want to say goodbye? She's like, I don't want to do this again. Just for the record, my basset hound, my older basset hound whose ears are a little bit longer, I can actually tie them on the top of his head. They don't stay that way very long because he shakes his head, but it's still pretty cute. All right, Lou. Okay, Lou. So anyway, super cute book. I thought it was super fun, and I love using books, so that was just something that I wanted to share in place of the K-5 recap of all my lessons, because I did them last week, and I don't want to have you guys sit through and do that again. So if you're interested in all my lessons from the week, go back and watch the first half of last week's video, and you can see all of that. Last week I did a deep dive on first grade. This week I'm going to talk just a little bit about second grade, because it was the lesson I thought would be easiest and best to share. Plus there are some very sort of different things that I do in this video, some pretty different concepts. So when second grade first comes in, I'll just sort of start at the beginning of the lesson and go from there. And if you've never watched on Instagram, I'm just going to sort of run through all of the lesson and give you ideas about the resources I use, and how I use them, and what specific ways I introduce things, just so you guys can get sort of a view into my classroom. And sorry, Instagram, if you're shaking, I'm trying to make this work. Okay. So when second grade first comes in, we come and do a little circle song. I do that in kindergarten, first and second grade, and it's a song that I learned from Andrew Ellingson, who's really wonderful, a teacher in Decorah, Iowa, who will teach my nephew in just a few years. That's where my sister lives. But it's just a little circle song. They come in and do this circle, and then once they sit down, then I've sort of tried something new, and I'll say, like, where are second graders? And they go, here I am. I go, there you are. Where are second grade boys? Here I am. There you are. Where are second grade girls? Here I am. There you are. Or I might say, like, where are the students wearing blue? Here I am. There you are. And I do that so that it's sort of like a whole group thing, because then I take attendance for all my classes. I have so many students, and if there were a fire or an intruder drill, I would want to make sure that I knew who was there for my roster at the beginning of class, because if I have to evacuate or whatever, I don't want to take a class roster that's like 3 weeks old outside and say, like, well, I know that James is on my roster, but I don't know if he was there at the beginning of class. Like, I feel like that's something that I never want to experience. So I take roll with all my classes at the beginning of the class. And this is how I do it with second grade. I let them sort of sing together and say, here I am, there you are. And then I'll say like, where is James? And he says, here I am, there you are. Where is Lindsay? Here I am, there you are. Where is Jacqueline? And he'll be like, here I am, there you are. And in these first few weeks, I'm okay with them giving me a spoken, here I am, because, I mean, eventually I would love for them to sing, here I am, but in this first week I'm not asking that from them because it's their third time in music. I've been in school a month and it's their third time in music. But it's their third time and I don't want to put them on the spot quite yet, even though they sang for me last year and did this sort of thing last year. But I'm okay with their spoken response. They say, here I am, and I say, there you are. And then I move on. And it's actually sort of fun because when I sing like, where is Amy? Here I am, there you are, where is... And it's sort of a fun rhythmic thing. And so that's how I take roll, and as I'm doing that I have my iPad and I use my app, but I'm sort of tapping that they're here, they're not here. If a kid isn't there, with some grades I've tried it and it like doesn't work. If they're like, they're not here, I'm like, oh, then we should hear silence. Silence is when you don't hear sound. That never works. Like it works for maybe like 2 seconds and the next kid who's gone, they're like, they're absent, or they checked out, or whatever. I can't hear them. I can't do it. They won't do silence. So anyway, then I'll be like, oh, they're absent. Oh, they checked out, and whatever. And then that gives me a chance to sing back an answer, which I feel like is better than having to say like silence every time because they don't do it. So then at the end, once I know everyone is checked in, then this week I go, where is Charlie? And they're like, Charlie? We don't have a Charlie. Oh, really? And I look at my iPad. Where is Charlie? Oh, we don't have a Charlie. Oh. But where... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different Charlie. And so I set down my iPad and I pick up my ukulele, my trusty ukulele, and I do this song. I sing it one time through with just me. Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the sea, Charlie caught a big fish, can't catch me. And I'm doing it in F, and then I'm just playing F and C on my ukulele sort of in succession, which is pretty easy to change. And the kids are like, and so most of them don't know the song, and so I'm introducing it to them. I just sing it all through without an echo back. And I say, Charlie, do you think Charlie lives near us? And they're like, no. Good guess. And I say, listen to the song and see if you can figure out why. Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the sea, Charlie caught a big fish, can't catch me. And they might be like, oh. And sometimes they get there on their own, and sometimes I say, in the song it talks about something near Charlie. What is it talking about? And they say, oh, the ocean. Some kids get there on their own, the ocean or the sea. I say, yeah, do we live near the ocean? No. We're in Atlanta. We're not near the ocean. And maybe they vacation near the ocean, but they're not really near it, really. And so then I click through, and I know this is backwards, I'm really sorry. But I have this folk song set, and I talk about Charlie. Oh, and it's really bright. I'm really sorry. I don't think you're going to be able to see that. Oh, it sort of works. Okay, so in this set, I talk about Charlie, and Charlie you can't really see is holding a fishing pole. And I sometimes talk about how it's from Alabama. But mostly what I click through to, and I hope you can sort of see this, but I don't think you can. In this PowerPoint, I have illustrations about the difference between C, like you can see, S-E-E, and S-E-A. And I usually try and take a minute or two to do that, and sometimes I'll talk about the echo song. Mostly I like just having this, at the very first time we do it, I like just having a visual of a boy holding a fishing pole and the words Charlie over the ocean. I like doing that, if nothing else, with the PowerPoint. I like having that just for this first lesson, so it sort of like gives them a frame of like what we're doing, and that it's a song. And then maybe in follow-up lessons I'll talk about C and C, or maybe I'll talk about, I usually do that in the first lesson, but maybe I'll talk about where it's from, or that it's an echo song, or whatever, depending on what I have time for and what my standards are asking me to do. But once I've gone through it and sort of given them like, oh, Charlie is the Charlie from the song, he's not really in our class, then I'll sing through again. I'll say, this time, can you help me out? How about I sing it and then you echo back? Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the sea, Charlie over the sea. And they're doing that. I'm usually singing up in their range. I'm not usually singing in my boy voice. And for kids I say in my dad voice, because they get adult male. But then I have them echo sing with me. And at that point, it's very easy for them to pick up because it's short and it repeats a little bit, and all they're doing is echoing me. So they get it really fast, most of the time. So maybe I'll do it once or twice where I sing and they echo back. And then I'll say, you know what, I'm going to do something new this time. So you guys stay where you are. And this, like I said, they came in at their circle song, and then we did attendance and all that. We're still in our circle. So this time I say, now I'm going to do something new, and you just see if you can figure out what I do. But don't forget, you've got to sing back. So I go, Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the ocean, Charlie over the sea, Charlie over the sea, Charlie caught a big fish. Oh, and I hope you're singing back right now. Maybe by yourself, maybe with kids, I don't know. Charlie caught a big fish, can't catch me. And so I walk around the circle as I'm doing that, and on the very last word, on the very last me, I reach down and I touch a kid on the top of the head. And some kids immediately are like, we get it. You know, and some kids are like, oh, that's very nice, great, I love how you did that. And I say, in the song it says, can't catch me. This time, when I lean over and tap you, I want you to stand up and try and catch me. But you won't be able to do it. Nobody's as fast as Mr. Rao. And so I do the song again, and sometimes kids are like, it's like Duck, Duck, Goose. I'm like, yes, it is like Duck, Duck, Goose, but it's different. Because in Duck, Duck, Goose, you gotta go duck, 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 and you choose the goose. And in this song, the song chooses the goose. Because you just lean down and touch on the last me, and whether or not it's the person you want to choose or not, you don't get to choose, the song is choosing. And I like that because then they don't always choose their friends. And there's sometimes where, you can tell that kid is, smart, and has, figured out, if I walk slowly, I will end on Jaden, and then I will get to tap Jaden. Some kids know that, and some kids just do that. But for the most part, kids are like, well, I don't get to choose, the song chooses. And I might say, what word do you stop on? I stop on me. And so then we do that several different times. And I'm just singing the first part, Charlie over the ocean, and they're doing the echo. Bum, ba-da-ba-da-ba. And so we go through, and I do it, 7 or 8 times with different kids. And yes, they're racing, and they think that's super fun. And I totally lie to them, and I say, oh man, you're doing so good. That's not the lie. They usually are doing very good. But I say, oh, you're doing so good, but you know what? On the part that goes, can't catch me. And when they're racing, I do a little. It's just F and C again, but I just do it fast so they know it's the race time. When you were doing the racing, oh, it was so good, but you're going, you were using a very loud voice. And yesterday, when I did this with my other 2nd grade class, we were doing the same song at that same part. Guess what happened? What happened? I was like, our principal raced in, and our principal said, what's going on? It's an emergency. And we said, oh no, we're so sorry, it's not an emergency. He said, but they were shouting. And we said, yeah, but we just got excited. Oh, I'm so sorry, continue. And so then we did it again, and then we were screaming again, and guess what? Mr. Friedman came right back in. He said, oh, it's an emergency! No, it's not an emergency, we're really sorry. We weren't supposed to be using our shouting voice there. And that sort of gets them, oh, that other class messed up, and we're not going to mess up. I mean, that never happened. But it's a great story to tell them about how it happened. You could even say, my friend David was teaching this song, and it's class. I don't know. Anyway, but I do that so they don't scream on the chasing part. Okay, so the end goal for this, I think, is that eventually the kid who's walking around will be singing my part, the call, and the other kids will be singing their response, sort of. It's an echo, but they'll sing my part with me, and then the kids will sing their part. But I don't do that on the first day. I usually do that on the second day or the second or third time I come back to this song, because it's enough for that kid who's walking to think about, I'm not choosing, I've got to listen to the word me, and then I've got to run. Like, that's enough for their little second grade brains. And so then eventually I'll get to the point where I say, sing with me, and then the other kids will echo. But I don't put that on them, because again, it's the third time they've been in the music room, and they're still a little nervous about that, and they're just not ready for it. Okay, so after that song is over, the very last kid, I always feel bad for that kid because they don't get to walk around and tap and race. And so instead, I say the very last Charlie, since you're the last Charlie and you didn't get a race, run, and choose, here's what you get to do. You get to tell all the other kids when it's time to stand up. And then, once you've done that, you get to tell them all to scatter out. And so that last kid is like, stand up. And they love it. And the kid stand up and he's like, scatter. Like, that always somehow happens that the kid is like, it's never like, stand up, scatter. It's always like, I'm going to take my time to when I want. Whatever. That was me as a kid, so God bless. Anyway, so we do that song, and then the kids scatter out, and then I say, all right, it's time for a test, and I'm going to test your ears. And here's how I'm going to test your ears. I'm going to test your ears with these, and I pull out my scarves. And I have all different colored scarves, and I say, I'm going to test your ears with these scarves. And the kids are like, I can imagine in their head, they're like, how is he going to do that? I say, I'm going to test your ears because you're going to hear a song, and when the music of the song plays, you can move your scarf around. You can go up, you can go down, you can go all around. You're going to move. In fact, actually, you're going to have a special thing to do with the scarf, but just so you know, when the song stops, you have to freeze. And if you freeze, then I'll know your ears are working and they have heard that the music has stopped and it is not playing, and then once the music comes back, you can move again. And when the music stops, you freeze, and then you can move again. And so that's how I'm testing your ears. And the kid's like, okay, all right, I can do this. We've done stuff like this before. Okay, all right. And I'm like, but that's too easy. And so I'm going to make it even harder. Your goal is to try and make the scarf touch the ceiling. And if you can make the scarf touch the ceiling, you get a prize. And they're like, oh. And I was like, but don't forget, when the music stops, you have to stop. And if you don't stop, you might be out. So I'm going to be listening for your ear, or I'm going to be checking your ears. So if you're blowing and the music stops, you have to stop no matter what's happening and freeze. I'm like, okay, all right. And I say, but that's too easy. You're going to try and make the scarf touch the ceiling, and you're going to listen for when the music starts and when the music stops. But you don't just want to throw the scarf to get up to the ceiling. You'll never be able to get it up on its own. You need to use your breath. And they're like, what? And I say, you're going to take your scarf and you're going to go, and it doesn't really work right now because I'm sitting right under my ceiling fan, but in my classroom it works beautifully that they see the scarf like blow up towards the ceiling, and I don't have 14-foot ceilings or anything. They're relatively small, but I have taught in big rooms like that, and the kids are still like, well, I'm never going to get up there. I'm like, but you might if you blow with all of your lungs. And they think that's hilarious. And so I say, so really you have 3 things to do. You need to blow as hard as you can to make the scarf fly up high. Just like when wind blows into the sail of a ship, you're going to blow into your big open scarf. Okay, and you're going to try and make the scarf touch the ceiling. And then when the music stops, you have to freeze. And the scarf may fall down. It may fall on your face. It may fall on your shoulder. But you must be frozen until the music turns back on, because I'm testing your ears. And so, that's there are 2 things, 3 things, or whatever you want to say. But I try and make it this big, exciting thing. And then I go and I pass out the scarves. I'm like, I've got so many different colors. I can't wait to see what color you get. You get what you get. Don't be upset. And I learned this from Dina Byers, that I don't say you get what you get, or don't throw a fit, and don't throw a fit. Because I am not from the South. I don't say get. And so I say, you get what you get, don't be upset, because that rhymes. And like I said, when I was showing you a little earlier, I like rhyming things. So anyway, I like it when it rhymes. So they're going to, you get what you get, don't be upset. And then I go, hand out, whatever. And really, I just sort of do it randomly. And with purple and I have a hot pink one that is highlighter pink. I try and give that one to a girl just because, but doesn't really matter. So then the song I play, let me see if I can pull it up here for you, It's from Greg and Steve's CD, Kids in Motion, and it is amazing. That is a game that's kind of neat. And they're like blowing, they're blowing. Okay, it's like very exciting. The great thing about this is it has very, very obvious places when it stops. So very obvious, like this. And they're frozen, and they stop. And at that point, I give them a reminder about like, oh my gosh, you gotta stop, you gotta freeze, and if you don't freeze, you might be out. And so we do it one whole time through. It's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something. And they do it all. And if they move during the quiet spots, I don't say that they're out this time. And then after the first time through, they're like, nobody made it to touch the ceiling. It's like, do you want another try? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, but this time, I'm really going to watch. And if you move, even if you do this, you'll be out. So when the music stops, you have to freeze, and if I see you move, you're out. You can still come sit and play with your scarf, but you'll be sitting. You don't get a blow, and you won't win a prize. Nobody wins the prize. Nobody makes it touch the ceiling. But they're afraid they might get that chance. Anyway, so that's my fun thing with that song, and that is a super great CD. I use that for 3 or 4 or 5 different songs on there. I use them all the time. I use that in my student teaching, and I've used it every year since. It is totally worth your money. And I know PE teachers have it, and music teachers, you may have it stuffed in a closet somewhere. I met someone once who's like, I have that on a record. That's sort of cool. So it's older, but it's totally worth buying and having. Okay, so then I say, that was so great, but I want to keep testing your ears. So now, when you come and turn in your scarf, you're going to take a bag. And you're going to take your bag back to your personal space. So you're going to drop off your scarf and pick up your bag. And I say that like 2 or 3 times because kids with directions, like, you got to remind them. You're going to drop off your scarf and pick up your bag. Okay. And that song, Ashley, was called The Freeze. And it's from Greg and Steve's CD, Kids in Motion. And I have a link to that in the notes that are somewhere on Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, they're on my website, makemomentsmatter.org/videos. And there it is. Okay, so then to put away, I say like, okay, great. If you have a yellow scarf, come put away and take a new bag. If you have a blue scarf, come put away and take a new bag. If you have an orange scarf, and I go through that so that I don't have so many kids bottlenecking at the scarves. And then I can also choose like, okay, that kid with the pink scarf, she needs to get moving. She is only playing with it. She's not doing what she's supposed to. So I'm like, pink. And I do that one first. So what they're picking up when they go by, I made these years and years ago with one of those die cut machine things at my school, Ellison machines, I don't know what they're called, at my school. They have them in the teacher's lounge or the workroom or whatever, and you go like, and it cuts out paper. Well, basically I took a bunch of construction paper, I laminated it first, and then I ran it through the cutter, so I didn't have to like cut it, laminate it, recut it. I just ran it through. And they're not all completely still great, like 5 years later, but whatever. I can do that again, and it's way easier than like cutting, laminating, cutting, and spending like 95 hours. Ellison machine. Thank you, Annette. But anyway, so I love these. So I made, and I have 4 per bag because we're doing 4 beats in our measure. And then the other part in the bag are sticks, and there are 2 different kinds of sticks. They're popsicle sticks. So there's the normal kind, the large size, and then I learned this, I think from Aileen Miracle, the large size, and then there's the mini. I didn't know there was a mini for a long time, but there's a mini, and it's so super cool. And so what I do is that the kids put out 4 stars in a row, and of course I have a set for me that have magnets on the back, so they're stuck up on the whiteboard, 4 in a row, and I say, I'm going to give you some sounds. And for each star, you need to put down, if you hear a long sound, you're going to put a long stick, and if you hear a short sound, you're going to put a short stick. So this week, I started with body percussion, and I said, okay, if you hear a long sound, you're going to put the long stick. If you hear the short sound, you're going to put the short stick. I don't want you to tell me the answer. I want you to show me. You're going to put your stick in the right spot. This is sort of a pre-dictation activity. So I started with, oh, I'm sorry, did you miss it? Let me do it again. And that sort of gives them the hint that, like, this is a short one. Okay, great. So kids are, like, putting the short thing. And at this point, the very first time through, I'm sort of, like, wandering around through the room to make sure that, like, they actually have them 4 in a row, or that they're not stacking, they're not going from right to left. And I sort of talk about we always read from left to right. And so I make a deal out of that. So then the second one I do is, so I do my clap for the short sound, and then I do this. Remember, if it's long, you put the long stick. If it's short, you put the short stick. And I say it every time because I need the reminder. So I go... And they're like, that was much longer than the first one. Okay, great. So I put down the long stick. Awesome. Say, great. Okay, so you've got your first star and your second star. You've got the short sound and the long sound. And then I say, great, here's the next sound. Do you want to hear that again? And I get it, like it's short. And the last sound I do on my knees, and I do like a drum roll. And they're like, okay, it's long. And then they see there's like a pattern. So short, long, short, long. So that's how I start. And like I said, I have a visual with magnets on the back on the board. And my long and my short sticks, I have little strip magnets that I've hot glued on. And they will also go up by magnets. So then I put up that example so they can see. I check. I'm wandering around. I'm like checking in with the kids who maybe don't have it or doing it backwards or whatever to sort of get everybody on track this first time through, and it's pretty easy. So the next time through, it's even better. So then the second time through, I say, great. So you've got your short sticks, you've got your long sticks. Now I'm going to play another sound, and I want you to listen very carefully. And I take a non-pitched percussion instrument, like this kaxixi rattle. I don't know if that's how you say it. I'm pretty sure that's not how you say it. But like this rattle, that's spelled C-A-X-I-X-I. I'm not going to say it again. And I go, great, listen carefully. And I do a short version, and then I do a long. And then I don't want to do short, long again, so then I do long. And so then I do that pattern. I'm like, great, and so I would do that. If we have enough time, I'll do another one with another non-pitched percussion instrument, and I might do... And when I'm doing it this time, I like to sort of short... Like the first long sound, I went like really, 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 really long. It's like they get it. So now I'm sort of shortening it up a little bit so that it's not like super crazy obvious. That might be the long. That might be the short. But I just sort of vary how I'm doing it so that they're getting a variety of examples. So not just getting the one like very obvious example. Now that they're sort of having to actually think about it, which I think is important. So then I grab my recorders because I like to give them like sort of non-pitched examples, and then I like giving them pitched examples so that they get some sort of variety. And I like to start with the alto or the tenor just because the soprano, they don't love the sound at first, and it's a little bit more accessible. So I might do something like this. And I might do... So I'll do that. And I make it pretty obvious again. I try not to do short, long every single time. Sometimes I'll do long, short, or whatever. The next time I say, I'm going to do something just a little bit different. So listen very carefully. Okay, here's your first star. Great. Here's your second star. Great. And they're like whatever, we're pros at this, is too easy. Because I did something sort of like this in first grade. Great, here's your third star. And most kids at that point put one short. They're like, that was short. And I'm like, listen to that one again. This is your third star. Okay, great. And then we move on to the fourth star. And most of the time with my classes so far, my like 7 classes so far, or whatever, they haven't gotten it. They don't do 2 sounds because we've done either 1 short or 1 long. We've never done 2 short. Sometimes there's like 1 kid who gets it, but I love saying like, nobody got it that time, let me do it again. And I start from the beginning. And I do each star one at a time. And usually then, once they get to the third star with 2 sounds, they're like, this is different. And so then I can say like, yeah, it's 2 sounds. And so what I do on the board is instead of, well, you could do it a lot of different ways, but I put it like this. And some kids naturally will put it like an equal sign, which I think is fine, because then later I sort of talk about that. But I just have them put the 2 short sounds and the long sound. Great. So then I say, good. So for this next one, it's just too easy for me to do 1 star at a time. So now I'm going to do 2 stars at a time. I'm going to do 2 stars, and you can either have 1 long sound or 2 short sounds. So I do an example like that where I'm either doing 1 long sound or 2 short sounds, and we go through and they, I'll do it on a recorder or something else to give them another example. Usually I'll switch to like a tenor or whatever. This is all in one day. Thanks for asking on Instagram. This is all just in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It really doesn't take long once you get started, especially if you have kids sort of next to each other, checking each other. And I don't ever say like pair up, and I don't say you must work on individual, so they sort of just like naturally are sort of working together. And I'm okay with that because I want everyone to be successful, so like, great. If they're checking each other, wonderful. Because then the kid who's checking has ownership and the other kid is getting help. Okay, so then we do 2 at a time, and then I might do 4 at a time. It depends on how much time I have left. And then one of my favorite things, I did this, and I pulled out my ukulele, and I played a C, F, G, C pattern, and I did this. Great, remember, it can either be 1 long sound or 2 short sounds. Listen to star number 1 again. And most kids put 1 short sound because they think that's it. That's the only part of the sound. And I'm trying to get them to listen through the whole thing. And so we go through. So nice. And then I do. And most of the time kids do like short, short, and then when they get to, they like don't know what to do. And so we go through it a second time, and I say, how long is that sound? Is that long or is that short? They're like, it's short. I'm like, really? Raise your hand when the sound ends. And most of the time, as soon as I'm done strumming, the kids raise their hand. I'm like, no, listen really careful. And I have a microphone that I use in class all the time, and I put the mic right next to the string. And I have them listen all the way through until the sound finally dies, and then I raise my hand, and they're like, oh. And sometimes I'll sit at the piano and play a chord and let it really decay, let the sound decay, so they hear that it actually is a long sound, even though it's not like an active sound like the recorder where it's like full sound the whole time. You can still hear something. And so I'm counting that as a long sound. Especially in contrast to that, which is very obviously 2 short sounds. So I like throwing that in and making that a little bit different for them. You can take that as far or make it as short as you want. I mean, you could take that lesson as long as you want. One of the other things that I did that I learned from Aileen at one of her workshops is she had, well, I don't know if this is exactly how she does it, and if Aileen's watching, she can explain it better, but the kids who put it like an equal sign, when they have it like that, I'll do that on the board to match them, and I'll say, I don't know which one to read first. Do I read this one first, or do you read this one first? I can't tell. Can we just make it easier, guys? And why don't you just stand them on their heads, and then I'll know exactly which one comes first. And this is like leading into writing notation, because then you can always put like a cap on the top, and then you've got 8th notes. But for me, at the end of this lesson, I just stick with either standing on their head, 2 shorts, or 1 long. And again, that's sort of nice too, because then they can see the very tall one or the very short one, and they can absolutely see the difference between those 2 things. So then at the end, I've learned, for the sake of my sanity, I need to give them a little time to put away. And so what I say with this is, put the stars in first, because otherwise the stars will get squished later. Put the stars in first, and then put in your sticks, and then zip it, and then bring it up. So zip it up, bring it up, line up. And then that's the end of our lesson. And in case you haven't seen me talk about this, I think it's the most ingenious thing ever, but one day I took a hole punch and punched in there. I'm pretty sure I saw this on a homeroom teacher's blog or something. But if you punch a hole in there, then when they like zip it up and go to like blow all the air out, it doesn't pop your bag. So then they do that, they put away, and then they line up. And kids do that at varying speeds. And I always try and say like, ooh, I see a stick on the ground. Ooh, I see that stick on the ground. Can you guys make sure you're grabbing it or whatever? I've had these for several years. And like I said, it's just laminated construction paper and sticks. And like kids don't walk off with them because they're not that exciting. And if they do walk off with them, I'll like I made them years ago, and it doesn't cost a lot to buy these. The full-size sticks you can get anywhere. You can get like a box of like 5,000. The short sticks, I'm pretty sure I got from like a Hobby Lobby or a Walmart or something. But you can get them on Amazon. I put a link in case you're an Amazon Prime Maven or whatever. If you like, that's your thing, you can get them there. But I'll put the link there. But you can get them pretty much anywhere. How long do you see them for? Is Kinder the same amount as other grades? Denise says. I see them for 45 minutes, and Kinder is the same as all other grades. If they have an AU unit, an autism specialty unit pushing in with the kids who never gets to push in with them in any other class, they push in specials for the same amount of time. It's the same for all the grades, so I deal with it. But in this lesson, I did my circle, my singing attendance, Charlie Over the Ocean, the freeze song, and then this sound thing, all in 45 minutes. And that I would never have been able to do in my first year of teaching, but because I've sort of built in the like sing as you come in, that cuts down on a lot of time making a circle. Doing the attendance really quick singing response, that cuts down on any bleed time in between. My transition from where is Charlie? Where you are? Here I am. From the attendance right into Charlie helps me save time. And then, I mean, just all these little things that you can sort of weave in help you save time. But take as much time as you want, I guess. Or use these things for longer or shorter than you want. But I just sort of wanted to show you what I did so you had a sort of an idea. I'm just going to quick scroll through questions in case you have any questions. Where do you get the short sticks? Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon. Ellison Machine, yep. Or you can call it the swinging cutty thing. And you could do stars. I also have another set that has all long sticks, bags with all long sticks, and then leaves. And I use that in autumn. Or you could do, I don't know, whatever you wanted, houses or sunbursts or whatever. The CD I used was called Kids in Motion. It's by Greg and Steve, and I'll have a link to that if you want it on Amazon. Again, if you're an Amazon person, I am. Sometimes that's nice because you can have it sent straight to school, and then whoever's at home doesn't see that you bought another thing on Amazon. Okay, you get what you get. Don't be upset. It's not you get what you get. Don't throw a fit. Kids try and tell me that. I'm like, get is not a word. It might be in other parts of Georgia, not in Woodstock. Get. Okay. That's so silly, but like I'm adamant about that with kids. Thanks, Dee, for inviting folks. Hey, Michelle. Hope that you get to go back through the archives. Like I said, when these videos are done, I archive them on my Facebook page under the Videos tab, and you can watch any of the weeks from previous. I'm also trying, Instagram folks, to put them on YouTube, and I'm mostly doing that, but it's taking some time. Let's see. What app for attendance? I'm still working on how I can show you this app. It's called Idoceo, IDOCEO. It is absolutely worth $100, but it only costs $9, and you buy it and you can use it every year. It's not a subscription service where like you have to pay $9 every year. It is $9 one time. You can reuse it every year. There is no cap on the number of students who are in it. Like Seesaw has a cap of like 1,000 students or something. As many students as you want. It's amazing. And so I'm trying to figure out how can I like hold my iPad in front of the screen and show you. The screen thing, as you notice, my computer does not work very well, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it. If any of you have an idea about how to share an iPad on a live Facebook or Instagram video, please let me know. Okay, let's see. Matthew, love you back. I miss seeing you at Orff Levels. Let's see. The books, yep, so the books that I talked about at the beginning of the video, they are linked. And like I said, I love Amazon. I have a whole Amazon page that's like a wish list, and it has all of the books that I use in class, and you can sort of go through and see those. I'm an Amazon affiliate. I don't know what that means. I make like $0 off of it. Like every $1,000 I get like $1 or something. But it allows me to put all those in one place. So if you want, they're there. You can go peruse through and then, I don't know, buy them at half-price books. Let's see. Great. And thanks, Bryson. I can share the Instagram video as a story, but I can't archive it. Sorry. Oh, Aileen Miracle, someone says on Instagram, I can't see the name because it's so small, that Aileen has a video or a live or something, a blog post about Idoceo, so I'll find that and I'll link that in the show notes. Someone else saying they love Idokio. Yep. I would come to Ohio, but I don't live there, and so I haven't given a workshop there yet. I'm getting really close to this. Let's see. My circle song, I think I've talked about that in another video. If you send me a PM, I can try and get you the lyrics and the melody for that. I spend one day on all of this stuff. Do I wash the scarves often? Do they spit when they're blowing at the ceiling? Nope, they don't spit, not very often. If there's a kid who I think is spitting, I go on like WeChat. And I don't wash them, but I do put them through the dryer because the dryer will kill even the worst lice, I'm told, and it kills most other germs. So I will run them through the dryer. But watch that, because if you have nylon scarves, they might melt if you put them in for too long. And I can't see anything else on the Instagram that I need to talk about. I'm going to go through, I do this every week. At the end of the video, I sit down with a glass of wine, like a half an hour after the video's over, and I try and answer any questions that I might have missed. And if I even miss them tonight, for the next few days, I always go back anytime there's a comment and I try and check. I try and check for comments and things and answer those. I don't know if I'll be able to do that on Instagram. I don't know how Instagram Live works. And I don't know if I can set up an Instagram TV channel. They're supposed to be short videos, and this was not short. Ashley says, have you ever tried having students start off with putting their sticks upright for long and short so it's an easier transition to notation? Yes. And some naturally do that. But personally, I like them seeing like long and short. Like for them, that makes more sense for duration, for like held out long, as opposed to like tall and short. Because I'd rather them think long sounds and not tall sounds, if that makes any sense. But that's my own personal preference, and you could do it your own way. If you think that it would work better the other way, I like thinking about long instead of tall. I don't know. What grade is lesson 4? Second grade. All these things for today were second grade. Okay, well, I'm going to end the lives on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm going to go back and answer questions. If you don't get your question answered or whatever, send me a PM. Send me an email, makemomentsmatter@gmail.com. And if you go into the links section for these videos, where Facebook, they're in the comments. Instagram, makemomentsmatter.org/videos. If you go there, there's a survey, and you can say like, I hated this video, or I love this video, or I wish you would talk slower, or whatever you think. There are some questions in there, and you can fill that out. And if you do that, at the end, there's a thank you gift, because the feedback really does mean a lot to me, and it really helps me know like what I should share more. So if you do that, that's great. And also, speaking of share more, I'm going to be at the South Carolina Foothills Orff chapter presenting a workshop in October. I'm going to be doing another workshop for the Georgia Music Educators District 7 in 2 weeks. Well, week and a half. If you're interested in either of those, you can send me a message, or you can look on my webpage and learn more about them. But I'd love to see you all there. If not, I hope to see you next Monday for another Musical Mondays video. Where's the survey, Jacob? In the like description of this video, or you can go to makemomentsmatter.org/videos, and at the bottom it says Musical Mondays recap, and there should be a link on week 5. Okay, thanks so much, Facebook, for coming along with me. Bye.